All right, welcome to Do or Don't See, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television and entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the Harper to Dave's Emily, and John can be the old man because he's got the.
He's got the look.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
The old man John.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to be talking about him.
You can have a 9-minute fight scene where you
And win.
slowly roll around in the dirt.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to make a joke up about how he has to go to the bathroom every hour in the middle of the night or something.
I was like, that's getting
We saw
too
that
real.
in The Old Man as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the new FX series, The Old Man, with Jeff Bridges. And then we have some quick checks especially about a finale, a big Star Wars finale that aired today. Some stuff that aired back in like 2002 I'm going to be talking about. And then we have this first segment all about like entertainment news and what is it, John?
In and out points.
Yes, it is in and out points. Next month, we're going to have the annual Emmy nominations. But this week, we got maybe an idea of where things may go with the Television Critics Association Award nominations. They may help us see where the Emmys are going to be going next month. So let's look at the TCAs. The network comedy series Abbott Elementary led with 5 nominations, including Outstanding New Program, Outstanding Comedy Series, and Program of the Year. All right. This is going to be, I think, a blind spot for the three of us here. But
Yep.
Kyle, have you been hearing about the buzz and the hype of Abbott Elementary?
Yeah, I have definitely heard a lot of good things about the show. I haven't checked it out yet, just with the multitude of other stuff out there. But I have heard a lot of chatter saying it's the best show they've seen in a long time. And how it's really good. I just have not gotten around to it, but I definitely want to binge it. I think this is going to be one of those things where once I start watching it, I'm going to binge it right away and then want more, but I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's so odd in 2022 of this like network series, comedy series, like, comeback. Like it used to be back in the day, the network shows would lead the awards, but then it would slowly just keep going away. And then it would get to be like, most of the time now in both drama and comedy series, you might get 1, 2 at the most total. And for Abbott Elementary to clean up here in its freshman season, 5 nominations, that's great.
That's pretty impressive.
So yeah, definitely adding it to the list, and that's kind of one of the reasons why these awards matter is these shows kind of get picked up here, and people start hearing about them because of award buzz. Looking at the other nominations, not too far behind with 4 nominations were Better Call Saul and Yellow Jackets. Both are up for Outstanding Drama and Program of the Year. And yeah, if we're looking at the Program of the Year list, we got Abbott Elementary, Better Call Saul, Hacks, Severance, Squid Game, Succession, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets.
So here's where I get like a little, I guess, cognitive dissonance. Is that the thing?
Yeah.
White Lotus feels like it's forever ago, man. And everything else feels more recent. I mean, I guess Squid Game could be in that White Lotus area, but the White Lotus in my mind just feels forever ago. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was forever ago. It was originally released back in July. It was almost a full year ago. It's just the timing of these things. Like when we get to the Emmys, it'll be the same exact thing. White Lotus is eligible this year for a ceremony that will air in September, even though it aired last July. It's just because like they do this. I think it's like June 1st to like May 31st. Calendar. That's why we saw so much craziness in May of all the shows releasing everything, and now it's kind of like there's some things, but it's kind of fizzling a little bit. It's because they were trying to get them in the Emmys window. But yeah, this is a strong
it's stacked.
list. And that's going to be the thing when we get to the Emmys. It's going to be a bloodbath this year because everything is back and you got heavyweights. I mean, Severance, like this surprise drama series that's just is great. Squid Game, another huge surprise. But I mean, like, I'm going to have to choose now between Succession, which I love, Better Call Saul, which I love, The White Lotus, which I really liked, Yellow Jackets. I like that freshman series. Like, I love all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to choose? It's going to be tough. And the TCAs do something kind of interesting versus the other award shows where they kind of combined the categories for like actors and actresses into one category. So you'll have something like Outstanding Achievement in Drama, and you have nominees competing against each other, like Bob Odenkirk and Ray Seahorn are in the same category of Outstanding Achievement in Drama.
Oh.
With people from limited series, like Made and Dope Sick, they're all in this drama category. And like, I like that in some aspects, because when you get to the Emmys, and I feel like every year we talk about, like, most years, the outstanding Emmy and a lead actor in a comedy series is like, oh, well, we got one or two obvious ones, and then it's like we got to fill out the rest of the category. Who's on TV?
Yeah.
But then other years it's like it's too competitive, so it's just like, it's tough.
I think we're coming to this era where everyone's kind of acting or whatever is going to be recognized equally among all performers, but it's just like, can we do divisions then or something? Because it's like there's, when it's stacked like this, it's so hard to choose. Like, Ray Seahorn and Bob Odenkirk are great together. They're great.
And then throwing Jeremy Strong in that category as well.
That's like, impossible. It's impossible. How could, if you come out on top, it's like, that doesn't mean all these other people are bad. It's just how can you differentiate?
Yeah. But this kind of combination does make some other interesting categories. I'm going to read off one. I have some of the nominees just to give you a taste of what's going on. Outstanding Achievement in News and Information. This is a category here. We got, of course, like something like PBS's Benjamin Franklin, and Disney Plus's The Beatles Get Back, 60 Minutes, of course. But then you also have The Tinder Swindler and How To with John Wilson in this category. It's
wow.
How To with John Wilson, 60 Minutes, Ben Franklin, and Tinder Swindler.
We're all over the place. Well, that category does seem pretty vague, or like you could manipulate it into whatever you want it to be.
I guess I'm getting news and information from those shows. Yeah.
I mean, I learned from that
Tinder
John,
Swindler, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You learned a lot from that.
Yeah, you got me on that one. No, the John Wilson, the scaffolding in New York that they have to inspect it every 5 years or something. So that's why it's up all the time. I didn't know that.
Yeah, all the time. But those so many shows. I don't know if the Tinder Swindler wouldn't be eligible for our next In and Out point, because it was a one-off. It was like this movie. That's it. It's not a TV show that's currently airing right now, and that's our next In and Out point. TV Guide's annual list of the best TV shows on right now. There's a list of 100 shows. We'll end up focusing on the top 20, but I want to establish their rules first. We'll go through the list to see if anything jumps out at us, and then we'll focus on the 20. But to establish their rules, to be eligible for this ranking, a show has to be ongoing, or its final episodes must have aired recently. Ongoing shows are eligible as long as they've aired at least one new episode in the past year, while ending, canceled, or limited series are eligible if they aired at least one new episode in the past 3 months. That means you won't find something like the limited series Station 11, which ended back in January on this list, but you also won't find The Mandalorian, which hasn't aired since 2020. So first, I got some things about those rules here I'll get through, but do you like their criteria, Kyle, of what's a show on right now, and if canceled shows can be on this list?
I mean, every little list has to have some kind of criteria, but the thing is like, with some of these shows, we don't know what's happening with them. You know what I mean? like they could technically be done, but not. You know, does that make any sense?
Oh, I definitely think it makes sense. I mean,
like
we'll
we could not know whether something's going to series or just like the development's dropped off or what. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at this list, I mean, Squid Game is on this list, but The Mandalorian isn't eligible. But we're gonna get Mandalorian season 3 way sooner than Squid Game season 2.
Yeah.
And then you got a limited series on here. Oh, if it aired an episode in the last 3 months. No, the show's over. It's not airing right now.
Yeah.
It's like, that should be it. It's done. It's the limited series. It should be ongoing series. But those are my qualms. I mean, and then you look at this list. It's like, man, we're really stretching at some of these. Because it's like, 48 hours. The 98th best show on TV right now.
I mean,
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills at 93. I don't know. I'm sure there's some other shows on those lists, but we'll get. Let's see here. I'm gonna go to. Here's what we should do. We should go. I'm gonna go 20 to 11, and then 10 to 1, and we'll go through the list here as it's scrolling by. You can see all the other ones that didn't make the cut, and then we can talk about what we think should be higher on the list. So. Starting at 20, going up to 11, The White Lotus, Euphoria, Stranger Things, For All Mankind, Yellow Jackets, Hacks, The Good Fight, Reservation Dogs, How To with John Wilson, and Better Things. That's our 20 to 11.
Did Hacks get better? Why is everyone like putting it in their lists and nominating it?
People
really
love
like
it. People
it won some
really
Emmys
love
last
it.
year.
Yeah.
It won. I think it won maybe in directing,
surprising.
writing, and lead actress. Maybe for comedy series.
Not for comedy. Yeah. Okay. Good.
No, it was for comedy. Yeah.
I watched the first season. It was good. I enjoyed it. I just don't know if it's in my top tier of shows, you know.
It had to have gotten better past episode 1 then, I guess.
Yeah, it gets interesting and their dynamic gets a little, you know, you start to get into the dynamic that they have going on a little bit more. Yeah, and it is good. I just, it's not like there's a few shows that I have next tier and that's like the one below. That's why I haven't watched season 2 yet because I'm like, I'll get to it, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, you talked about another tier. Let me do 10 to 1 now. 10 to 1. The Boys, The Righteous Gemstones, Evil, Atlanta, Barry, Pachinko, Succession, Severance, Better Call Saul, and number 1, Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
Now, John, I see you're shaking your head. Here's what I'll say. We'll say it right up front. Better Call Saul was ineligible for the top spot, according to them, because the show won in 2020. So they always give the number 1 spot to another show.
That's a lame reason, but okay.
So that's why they write it in the description, and they're like, I think they even were like, you know, stop shaking your head, John. Like they actually say something like, they don't quibble with this. It's number 2 for this reason. It's the same reason why Evil is also not the top, because TV Guide loves Evil. We went on a whole rant, I think last year when we talked about this list.
Yeah.
It topped the list in 2021. The best show. It dropped down to 8 this year. So man, they must have really just slid.
Yeah. I wonder who's paying, TV Line or TV Guide off.
But yeah, you look at this top 10. I mean, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4,
They're all
5,
good.
6 of the 10 are like my favorite shows.
Yeah.
And then again, you look at like the list and you're like, man, Barry's at 6, Succession at 4, like what the hell? But then you like look at what the other ones are.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, Severance, Better Call Saul. It's like, there is just too much.
Yeah.
You can't even make a top 10. Like, it's...
I will say, just going from, my thoughts of looking back at these shows that I've watched, and I'm going with shows that I couldn't wait to watch another episode. Severance, super. Yeah. Better Call Saul is that way. The Boys is that way for me, and Succession. Those are all shows where I'm like, I can't wait. I need to see it right away. So
yeah. Better Call Saul, Succession, Severance. Those are like probably my top 3 shows. Not in that order, but those are my top 3. I know, John, you're a Saul guy. Any other ones in there?
Yeah. I mean, I think 5 or 6 of those were ones that I recognize and have enjoyed recently. So I mean, it seems like for the most part, it's pretty. They have things in the right area. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I will say one I wasn't sure about in the right area. Maybe it's just been so long, but Dave all the way down at 53 on the bottom half of the list. I mean, you know, not to rag on it too much, but Russian Doll season 2 is at 32. I'm struggling to get through season 2 of Russian Doll, and I don't know. I just think what Dave did, especially in the second season, some of the issues it tackled for a show with, you know, the character with his stage name, you wouldn't think it would be from that person, but it was. And some other ones I saw, Ted Lasso, the kind of Emmy favorite Ted Lasso, 28.
Yeah.
Even the other two show I really like was higher on it, on 23 for the other two over Ted Lasso's 28.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised to see Ted Lasso so low, especially when so many people like it. The other two, I feel like is such a niche show, but its audience is like strong,
Passionate,
so it like keeps around. But that show is really, really funny. Really, really good. I was also the After Party, which we liked, that was lower too, right? That was
it seems low.
And then I was surprised to see Ozark at 39, actually.
I would say it's probably maybe a little higher, but I'm not, especially the final season, I was really down on Ozark. So
yeah, me too.
I would probably be mad if it was in the top 20.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I wouldn't have been surprised if I saw that it was in.
I'm sure it's going to get plenty of Emmy nominations, and I'll complain about that in July. But so that's the list. The 100 best shows on TV right now, according to TV Guide. One of the shows that just missed the top 20, it was number 21 on the list, was Squid Game. But hey, maybe the spinoff reality show will make the list in coming years. The stakes won't be life and death. I mean, presumably, we don't know. But Squid Game, the challenge, will have 456 players competing in a series of games for the chance to win $4.56 million, which Netflix claims is the largest lump sum cash prize in TV history. Squid Game, the reality show. John, when should I send the application in?
I would do it right away if you want to get considered.
I'm talking for you. You're the one I'm going to be submitting.
Okay. I'll try out.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm wondering if Netflix is so in the hole, who's funding not only the show, but who's funding a $4.5 million cash prize or whatever it was? Like, they just have the budget to be like, yeah, all right, we'll give it away. Like, you know what I mean?
It's in stock options.
Yeah. Oh boy, great. It's worth. It's worth $4 million now, and none tomorrow.
You might be buying the company for $4.56 million at some. Yeah. But yeah, that is a lot of money for a network that keeps saying that they're struggling, or at least according to the stock is struggling. But is this 56?
Is this people based on like all the kids games that they do in the show?
I think from what I'm hearing, it's going to mix some of those games. I am positive we're going to get the red light, green light game. We have to. And I'm sure we're going to get the biscuit game. Probably one or two of the other ones. Probably the ones that are a little bit more violent. We're going to have to tone down, you know. It'll be like that Legends of the Hidden Temple reality show that we saw that they were like in this like. Oh my
God.
It'll probably be something like that. Ugh. But this is an interesting play from Netflix to do this because we talked about it in the last segment, but it's going to be a while before Squid Game probably comes back. Mm-hmm. It was a huge hit, but I mean, it's going to take a while for them to, you know, write it and, you know, make it and for it to come out. The show has been renewed for season 2. It was announced this week. It's official. Season 2 is coming. But it's like, I wonder if this reality show is just kind of like there to help like keep the show in the minds of the users. Like, don't forget about this show. It's going to be a while, but like, you know, here's something to tide you over until the real thing comes back.
Yeah, that could be real. I wonder if there'll be a game where you get locked inside a room and you just beat the crap out of each other. Is that a?
Well, I don't know. I didn't see that on the list.
No.
Yeah, that might be a choice. But right now they're casting. Casting is available to people around the world, but they must be English speaking. That's one of the qualifications. Which it seems seems like a controversial mandate. I mean, given that the original series was in Korean, like that was the show. But obviously, I guess probably to explain the rules for the contestants, everyone has to at least have one language for all 456 competitors. I don't even know how production is going to do this. Like, Survivor has a hard enough time giving stories and equal screen time to 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you know which, like, 5 or 10 are going to, like, outlast the 456 to have a camera crew in the beginning kind of following them around to get their story for later on? Like, this is going to be a hard show to produce.
Unless the producers are massaging who's they find like the most boisterous person there, follow them and massage whatever they can to fit their needs. I don't know.
Yeah, it is also an interesting thing for Netflix. I don't know if Netflix like fully understood the show and what the show was saying.
Yeah,
with a giant company forcing poor people to risk their life for some spectacle. It's like, do we really get the moral of this story, Netflix? I don't know.
They don't care. Just keep pumping in that money.
Yeah.
Well,
they need it.
Kyle, would you sign up for the Squid Game reality show?
I mean, yeah, because I'm poor. So I would love $4.56 million. And if it's like, I could see them tying like Big Brother elements into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're
it'd be
trying
interesting to see if they kind of do some like live feeds or like some kind of like challenge component. Like the challenge is coming to CBS. It's usually on like the MTV, but it's going to be on CBS. It's going to have like Big Brother Survivor people in it. So I might check that out. It'd be interesting to see what Squid Game entails with all 456 competitors. But it's going to be a while before Squid Game 2. And might be... Oh, you're ruining my transition.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I blew it.
It's gone.
I'm sorry.
It's gone. What's up, Kyle?
No, I was just going to say, I hope the competitors, like, I wonder what the competition is going to be like. Are they going to have, like, Old Man Rivers out there and then some young guy just, like, undercut him on a, you know?
There might be a challenge that's right up his alley. We don't know.
That's true. All right. I ruined your transition just for that.
I have no transition. I'm going to go right into talking about a show. It's going to be, we're a couple months away from the House of the Dragon series before the premiere of that. But HBO is already in development on the next Game of Thrones spinoff. Kit Harington is attached to reprise his role of Jon Snow in a sequel series focused on his character. To remind those who maybe are choosing to forget the final season, Jon Snow was exiled from Westeros and journeyed north of the Wall with the wildlings to leave his old life behind. So I'm assuming this is where that series will pick up. Who's signing up for this? John?
I don't know. What's even up there anymore? Like, what do we have to adventure
Winter
up there?
is coming again.
Yeah, we already went up there. We already explored. We figured it all out. Is there more to explore up there? Or is it going to be like he's up there for 2 episodes and he's like, I gotta sneak south of the wall to like find something, you know, like I don't know. I don't know.
There's hesitation. I hear it in the voice here. Kyle.
Yeah, it could be too much Game of Thrones. I mean, I like that world that they have, but yeah, with all this Game of Thrones talk, it might be end up being too much. I just am concerned with stuff like that. And I always think about budget. Are we going to be seeing the similar stuff, or are we going to, a digital...
Is it the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan thing where it's like, we got one set on Tatooine, we're using it in all 3.
Yeah, I'm worried about that kind of thing. So, I'm not in love with the idea, but I wouldn't hate it. I would probably watch an episode of it. I just wonder what George R.R. Martin thinks of his creation.
What is he even doing? Get on the book, George.
He sleeps soundly on a bed of money every night. Don't worry about him.
Those books are never being written. Never being written because all of this offshoot stuff, I don't mean this in a mean way because why not? But he's sold out and he's done his thing. And I'm not even a fan. I'm just saying, like, he just sold out.
He's done.
Know what I mean? He's done.
He's done. But I don't know. Yeah, obviously I was never into Game of Thrones, from what people remember on the podcast. So this doesn't really, interest me. I'll check out House of the Dragon because it is at least a prequel, so I don't need to have so much info, I feel like. But yeah, HBO has a lot of stuff in development. I will say they are being careful with, like, I think they shot a whole other pilot of a spinoff, and then they didn't like it, so they scrapped it. It's like they didn't go all in on something that they didn't really like to tarnish the brand. They have a lot in development right now. This marks, I think, 7 Game of Thrones projects in development. That includes the August, release of House of the Dragon, but there's 10,000 ships, 9 voyages, Dunk and Egg, and some animated prequel projects as well. Plus, there's a stage play about the origins of Robert's Rebellion. Those books that we've mentioned are never coming. So this world is just only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Is HBO trying to do like a Marvel situation where you need like everything intertwined in order to understand what's going on? I
think it's just IP. It's just like, we got to just make, we got Game of Thrones. I'm surprised they're not doing more with like Harry Potter. I mean, Warner Brothers has that. You would think they'd be really trying making Harry Potter TV shows, but
they do have I think they do have a video game coming out soon.
Okay,
I think.
So, but yeah, it's just I'm surprised, even especially because there is Warner Brothers, on the HBO here, that we haven't even seen a Game of Thrones movie or a sequel movie or the El Camino of. So I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot coming. Winter is definitely coming again, but. Let's see. I got one more in and out point tonight here. Something else that's going to be arriving that we're all going to be looking forward to. Maybe the sequel to Joker, the 2019 Joker film, made over $1 billion worldwide, was nominated for 11 Oscars. Got a lot to talk about with Joker 2 here, including a possible title here, Joker Folie à Deux. It's a French thing. I don't know. But it's a French title. Supposedly it's referencing a medical term for an identical or similar mental disorder that affects 2 or more individuals, usually members of the same family. So that maybe gives us a clue. We'll get to that, maybe why that's important in a minute. But already we got Joker 2 with a French title that I'm going to struggle to pronounce. What do you think of that, Kyle?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, what does this mean? That everyone is under the spell of the Joker? Isn't that kind of his thing? And the title reveal kind of plays into that?
Maybe. I got another thing that may lead to that in a second, but we know a script has been written. There was at least a cover page of a script that the director, Todd Phillips, posted on Instagram. And then we see a photo of Joaquin Phoenix reading said script. But then the Hollywood Reporter did confirm that Warner Brothers has yet to close a deal with Joaquin Phoenix for Joker 2. And I'm going to bet, it's going to take a lot for him to sign on to this, a superhero sequel in a way here. So you better back that truck up. That's what I'm saying. Empty that bank account. Maybe Warner Brothers needs to compete in a couple Squid Games, and then they can pay Joaquin Phoenix for Joker 2.
Yeah, because this was supposed to be a one and done, yeah?
Yeah.
So they didn't get him on that, 3-movie deal? Yep. Oh, no. Well, good for Joaquin
Like, the first
Phoenix.
one made $1 billion. It's like, if I was him, I'd be like, I'm getting points on this one.
Yeah, and you got to think the transformation he had to go through with his body. Yeah. So it's like, do I want to do that again, dude?
Yeah. So I mentioned in that description of the title here, a mental disorder affecting 2 or more individuals. There's talks that Joaquin Phoenix may have a co-star, and that co-star is Lady Gaga. This is in talks to star opposite Phoenix and is believed to be playing Harley Quinn, his psychiatrist at the Arkham Asylum and later girlfriend. So there we go. And what do you think about this cast now, John?
I can see that playing out with the talks of it maybe being a musical or having musical elements and her.
Oh, we'll get to that.
I know.
That's a whole other part of this.
But yeah, I mean that also digs right into the title where I mean, obviously the story is that she was somehow swayed by him or somehow was transferred into Harley Quinn by him and a medical disorder between two people, that kind of all plays into it. So I mean, that doesn't sound bad to me.
Yeah, I kind of like this choice, especially we'll get to the musical part in a second. But she's been, going all in on these kind of Oscar-y type movies, and it would be really funny after A Star Is Born and House of Gucci. This is the one that she gets an Oscar for. That would be pretty wild, but
it's crazy that you're even bringing that up. I mean, we're just hearing about the movie, and you're like already putting it in an Oscar category because of how the first one did, I guess.
You gotta do that. I mean, like, it's just like, it's just all these predictors come out in like March, and it's like, oh, there's a film by Steven Spielberg and Chris Nolan, and mark them down for Oscars. And it's like, wait, you haven't even seen a frame of it. Nope, it's an Oscar movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
I know.
That's what this is. 11 Oscars. Joaquin won, $1 billion. Lady Gaga is an Oscar winner and a nominee at different points. It's an Oscar movie now.
Yeah.
We get another bad accent with this one, maybe?
We'll have to see. We'll see. Yeah, she'll do like the complete opposite of what you're thinking it's going to be when she was doing Russian, when she was an Italian. But you mentioned it, John. Musical. This film is going to be a musical. I don't know if it's going to be like, okay, maybe 1 or 2 songs or something. But like, could you imagine a full-fledged musical? Like,
I mean, it's
song and dance, like those stairs in the Bronx. There's going to be a kick line going down those stairs this time around. It's going to be very popular again, I think.
It's an interesting idea. I mean, why not? I mean, the reason the movie kind of did so well is because it's so different from all the other superhero movies we have out. So why not try something a little bit different? I don't necessarily love musicals, and I would still go see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. I had mixed thoughts on Joker. You can definitely hear that review in the archives. But I'd be interested to see what is going on with this. It's definitely going to be a film a lot of people are talking about. 2 big stars, a musical, a sequel. It's a lot going on in it. So, all right. We got a show to talk about now. And no way to transition to it. It's completely different from Joker 2. It's The Old Man. Guys, send us back.
Back in time.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
The Old Man series premiere.
Old Man.
The episode was just 1, but Roman numeral 1, June 16th on FX, or you can watch it the next day on Hulu. Not FX on Hulu, because that doesn't exist anymore. Just FX on the Hulu site. Got that? Okay. So I got some possible spoilers in my episode description. I'll just, do that with what you will. This series is based on the novel of the same name and stars Jeff Bridges as Dan Chase, a man who absconded from the CIA decades ago and has been living off the grid since. However, when an assassin arrives and tries to take Dan out, the old operative learns that to ensure his future, he must now reconcile his past. All right, we all saw The Old Man. There was 2 episodes that dropped. I'm going to start off with John because you saw 2 of them. Mm-hmm. I think Kyle and I just saw 1. What did you think of your 2 episodes of The Old Man?
Very interesting. I didn't look into this show at all, so I went in completely blind. And the first, 5, 10, 15 minutes, I thought it was going to be what was that one with the long title that we watched with the old man who was like going senile?
Was it Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah.
The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray.
Yes,
I believe.
yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be in that vein where it's going to be a sad story of this old man who his wife died and he's starting to go crazy and, he's getting he's forgetting stuff. Oh, he left his phone in the microwave and walked away and he burned his house down. Like, I thought it was going that direction.
The show was pushing us towards that direction for sure.
And then all of a sudden, at the end-ish of the episode, in the middle episode, spoilers, he gets attacked by an assassin and kills him, and it's like, all right, this is different. So my initial view was like, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like, oh, okay, let's let's see what
You
this is
sound
going.
like the
I was thinking that
character
when I
in
did
Barry.
it.
It's just like
At first, I was like, and now I'm like,
But then I was
and then episode 2 was like, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting enough that I watched a second episode. So that's a little bit higher praise than a lot of the shows that we watch, where I just kind of say, never mind. So
yeah. I definitely see what you're saying there, because like this show was slowly piecing you information, and it was doing so like in such a confident way. Like a lot of shows will start off with a big flashy moment in the beginning of the pilot, and then you flash back to like 6 weeks before and to see how you got to that moment. But here it's like you have an old man waking up multiple times to use the bathroom. Like they don't care. They're going slow to start, and they're slowly giving you breadcrumbs of what's going on, and then you kind of get tricked a little bit. You think, there's confusion at the doctor, putting something in the microwave. The voiceover from the daughter's cell phone call is like, should I be worried? And it's like, you're not supposed to be worried about him. You're supposed to be worried about like what could happen to him. Because this assassin comes in, and then that's when okay, something's different here. This is not what you thought it was, and halfway through it kind of changes.
Yeah.
It was kind of a cool reveal with that. Kyle, what did you think of the old man?
Yeah, there's a lot of clues, a lot of tidbits of information that, how does it seem? Where's it leading to? Just like that phone call, has a different context when you watch the entire episode. So I enjoyed it. I'm liking these little clues they gave. I think Jeff Bridges is, I guess, believable in that role. He was decent with it. I just have like some questions about like, is he a Russian or some kind of other spy? They made it seem like he wasn't.
I think that's
what
we have to figure out. I think they're piecing that little bit and how he ties to other people in the episodes that we find out about.
And so we have this thing where we have to take his word for it that, whatever happened to his wife was whatever it was, because she keeps having these episodes where she's looking at him like he's a complete monster, and we don't know. And I don't know. His wife doesn't seem like she's an American, so that's why it makes me think that he's from a different country and all this other stuff. So, it's just it is interesting. And then somehow, what's his name? The guy who plays Harper, is all intertwined in this too. So
John Lithgow, I believe.
John
right?
Lithgow,
yeah. There's a lot of questions. And everyone talk so vague. It's like things have changed since you left the game, and it's like, wait, what game? Like, who's in the game? You were in the game. Like, what game? Like, it's just, and they're slowly giving you stuff, which could be good or bad. Like, you like the mystery element, but then it's like, can it sustain it? Like,
it
recently,
needs a payoff.
That The Shining Girls, like, I was in 2-3 episodes, but I'm like, where are we going? And it felt like I just dropped off. I couldn't do it. And I watched all of Mosquito Coast on Apple TV Plus. I'm like, what did the parents do that they're on the run? They won't tell their kids. What is it? I want to know. And then you get to the end. It's like, oh, that's it? Like, that was the thing? And it's just like, so I'm hoping, like, we got a full story here, and, and I'll like the reveal when I get to the end of the mystery.
For sure.
I will say for some, this might be a con, but like, the pacing of the episode, I mean, obviously, as it gives you little breadcrumbs, it could be slow for some people. And then to add to this, it's the long takes. There was a lot of one-ers, which are pretty impressive, just production-wise. I mean, you got the doctor visit, him walking around for the intruder, the fight scene at the end. I mean, you have these long one-take moments, and I think in the fight there wasn't like no music. It was just
it was just
the natural
very
sounds
intimate,
of just it happening, for 10 minutes. It made it seem more believable than the normal Marvel punch, knock out, okay. And I also thought like the car crash leading up to this fight was a kind of unique way that they shot it. We're in the seat with him for the crash. We're not. We don't cut to the car outside flipping around and hitting this and, dust. And it's like, no, we were like in the car with him, what he would have saw in that moment as well. So they're doing a lot of unique things with this. I'm interested in it. It's one of those things where it's like, I gotta, I think, be in the right mindset to, you know, sit down and watch it, because it's a slower paced show, I feel like, overall.
Yeah, I mean, I was in it the whole way, just because the tidbits and the little clues were enough to keep me interested in it. And yeah, I was going to mention that I liked a lot of the production stuff, a lot of the shots, especially the shot where the assassin comes to kill him. And the way that the tone that they set, it can put you on the edge of your seat, very tense, almost scary at times. I'm like, am I supposed to be scared right now? Because I really do feel that way. So yeah, just those little bits of the show make it that much better and more interesting, I think, in my mind. The thing I will say, the thing that I didn't like the phone calls so much back and forth between Emily and him. It just felt like I get the point of what those phone calls are supposed to achieve. Can we kind of...
It seemed long. We could have cut some of that out.
Yeah, or it doesn't need to be done twice. It can just be that one time.
Be more efficient with the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have had a lot of time to train these dogs. That's my one, like, things here. It's like Deus Ex dog, you know, the Deus Ex Machina of... It's like these dogs are his superpowers. He whistles and boom, they know exactly what to do. They go here, they attack this person, they go this way. Like, it's like the, I don't know if you've seen Jurassic World, either Fallen Kingdom or Dominion. There's like a raptor. They shine a light on him, then they do a whistle, and then it's like, I only can attack this person now, and I must focus on this forever. And it's like, until that person's done, like, that's all they do. And I feel like these are the same way with the dogs. It's like, whistle, okay, I'm in action, let's go. It's just like, but yeah, it seems like they're going to be around for a while at least. They're in the poster. So
yeah, man.
You know, they got the top billing there with Jeff Bridges.
They ran pretty far.
Yeah, they did.
They had to have run pretty far.
Yeah. But yeah, any other thoughts on The Old Man? Are we going to be watching more? John, you saw 2. Are you going to watch another one?
Yeah, I think this is one of those shows where when I'm looking for something to watch, if I remember it, I'll be like, oh yeah, let me check it out. I don't know if I'm going to make it my... this is the next thing I'm watching tonight, but you know, I think it's worth checking in on a few more. I don't know. I think that's probably my course of action. Is when I remember, I will watch a few.
And Kyle?
Yeah, I'll probably watch another, see how it goes from there, and see how interested I am, if it gets my attention. That's really all I need in this day and age, because
you are one of the dogs. Just distract me, you know, just do something for a minute.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm on the fence. I liked what I saw, but it's just, there's so much going on right now. I got to be in the right mindset, but I'm sure if I watch another one, I'd still, feel the same. But all right, that's The Old Man. We got some time tonight to really discuss these few things, but this is the Quick Checks.
Quick check.
Yeah, let's start off with a finale that aired today. Kyle and I didn't keep up with it, but John did. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. I guess I will start and say that I'm not really gonna go into spoilers, but I'm gonna discuss some stuff. So, if you're interested in watching, hit that 30-second skip button. But the finale was interesting. I think I still have the same complaints as before. The child actor and actresses are very hard to deal with. Their kids. Nothing against them, but you can tell they're kids. It's a little tough. I don't want to say that they're bad actors, but they're kid actors, So that kind of was the roughest part for me. But we get to a point in the finale where it's literally Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fighting each other. And that was a really cool sequence. It was mirrored with some other fights going on at the same time. We also get some flashbacks to Anakin and Obi-Wan training, which was very interesting. Hayden Christensen looks a little different, but not enough to be like, oh, it's the wrong person. But you can tell he's older now a little bit,
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did they de-age his face or no?
Yeah, I think they did a little de-aging. His face looks a little fuller than it did back then, I think is the issue. He still looks young, but his face just doesn't look as
thin.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of like these little Star Wars things because it fills in gaps that I know, and they're, again, we don't have to watch 4 million different things like Marvel to figure out where they fit in the universe. Not yet. They're building towards it. But this fits really neatly into that one of the bigger chunks of time between the prequels and the sequels. It worked. I thought it worked.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you about that because I've seen some people online talk about how, like, Episode 4, the original Star Wars in the 70s came out, and like there's some things in this series that people think, like, does this like negate or kind of mess up some of the stuff leading into Episode 4 versus like something like Better Call Saul, which seems like, okay, this is setting this up pretty well.
Yeah.
But this is like, well, does Leia, like when she does the R2-D2, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Does she
it's
know?
like, it sounds like does she actually know that this was the Ben that helped her in Obi-Wan? Or like, same with, the interactions between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. It's like, oh, I haven't seen you in blank number of years in Episode 4. And that fight was supposed to be like this big deal, but it's like, oh, they already had a fight at this other point. Like,
yeah.
So,
I get what you're saying. And I think that something like this, considering it's like, it's not George Lucas writing it, you know what I mean? It's kind of a whole separate thing. So yes, there are a little bit of weird things like that. I also think that they were not strangers to editing and CGIing new things into the old prequels or sequels. Who's to say they're not going to re-release it in 2 years and like change? You know what I mean? Like just tweak a line or do something. I could totally see them trying to do that just to be like, oh yeah,
Ewan McGregor's face over the original actor in Star Wars Episode 4.
I mean, I don't know. I when you're trying to fit something like this in anywhere, you're gonna have to either work really hard to not corner yourself, or you're gonna have little inconsistencies. I'm not afraid of the little inconsistencies, especially when it's easy enough to write off and just say, oh yeah, they fought before. All right, so they don't make a big deal about it. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to me like it's a huge thing, but I'm also not a hyper Star Wars nerd, so it doesn't hurt my soul as much as maybe somebody else.
To me, it's like those things I feel like are eventually going to happen in any kind of universe where you're trying to build everything. Because how are you supposed to keep track of all that? Everyone gets a show board. Every single show or movie gets a show board. I mean, I know you got to keep it somewhat
because it is
related,
tough. Like with a film like Star Wars, how being like popular and like monumental and like iconic as it is, it's like those things are like it's like you gotta fit this puzzle piece in just right. If it's another universe that you're kind of making up as you go along, it's like, okay, I can let that slide. They didn't know when they started this movie that there was going to be a sequel, but like, with Star Wars, it's like you're fitting something in out of the 11 real movies that we've had. In between like 3 and 4, after all these other series with The Mandalorian we've had, like it's putting it, a square peg in a round hole sometimes. But
I mean,
if you're cool with it, you're the one that watched it. That works for me.
I'm not sweating the really nitty gritty like that. Nothing about it made me go, gotcha, you did it wrong. Like, it all fits well enough that I'm like, all right, cool. If I watched them back to back, maybe I'd be like, oh, all right, that was a little weird, but nothing that would make me be like, again, nothing that's gonna make me. There's no gotcha moment. Like it mostly fits, if not.
As long as they didn't like kill off a character in this, and then they appeared. Oh, just kidding. Just it was a flesh wound or whatever they say. Monty Python or whatever.
I will say, what we discussed earlier, it's supposed to be a limited series, and they kind of did leave it off in a spot where. And again, small spoilers, Obi-Wan meets Luke at the very end, and he says hello to him. And they show the kid and all that. So I could see them very easily trying to pick this up again, and oh, now Luke's in danger. And they kind of had a side, like not a B story, but where Luke was involved at the end. So I can kind of see if they wanted to pick it up.
I would be more mad with that, even though again I'm not.
I think so
Star
too.
Wars nerd, where it's just like. Yeah, because like the Luke we see in Episode 4 is like this guy who has no adventure in his life. You know, he just wants to go to the town to get whatever those converters are. It's just like he has no adventure. So like if he got kidnapped and he goes into space and he has the guy who he meets for like the first time, or at least from what he remembers in episode 4, it's like, hey, you're the guy who saved my life. You know, it's like,
I very much agree. And like you said before, I can kind of fit into the universe where Leia says, help me, you know, you not without saying it, but you helped me in the past, I need your help again. Whereas Luke meeting him and being like, you know, not knowing who he is incongruent with them actually, like, you know, meeting and going on an adventure or whatever. And the idea that Luke met him and knows of, you know, Ben Kenobi or Obi-Wan or whatever one he references, that kind of makes sense if you think about him meeting him once just to say hello and then that's it. So it's a good point to leave it, I think. I think we'll see are in the right spot to walk away. Yes, I know they want to make their money, but I think they're in a good spot to walk away and not step on their toes.
All right. Well, a lot of people are talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi this week. Probably nobody is talking about My Quick Check. It's The Mole, season 2. Aired probably 2001, 2002.
My God.
It's like 20 years old. This is what I'm into right now. I'm going to explain the show for those who don't remember. I remember watching it growing up. You know, this came after the Survivor boom, Big Brother, all that stuff. But I don't remember anything from it, which is great because then I can watch it with fresh eyes now and not know, you know, the winner and all this stuff. But in the reality show, contestants work together as a group to add money to a pot that only one of them will eventually win. Among those contestants is one person who is secretly designated the mole by the producers and is tasked with sabotaging the group's efforts. So the whole episode, you know, they do all these different events, tasks to try to get money. There's this contestant like, oh, they, you know, in a situation, like, were they just bad at this challenge or were they actually the mole? Like, so, and you're kind of like this guessing game, who done it, you know, it's Clue. And then at the very end, they take a quiz and whoever, you know, knows the mole the most stays. But then whoever knows the mole the least is evicted or executed, as they say. And they have to get kicked off the show until only, you know, 3 remain. And then
when you say they know the mole the least, what does that mean?
So like the questions would be like, is the mole, you know, male or female? In the challenge, is the mole, you know, did they drive the car or were they a passenger in the car? And it's like, so you have to like kind of, whoever scores the best on the quiz is safe, and whoever is, you know, the worst and doesn't know who the mole is leaves.
Okay.
But you don't know the answers. Like, you don't know what you got right, what you got wrong. So every week your thing could change, you know.
Do they do like,
you think you might
confessionals and stuff like that?
Yeah, they do confessionals, but you, as the audience, you also don't know who the mole is.
Oh, okay.
So, and you can be watching it and you can be like, oh, you kind of can make your own, like, kind of, I think it's this person, I think it's that person. And then at the end, they kind of will show, this is what we did, you know, to like sabotage throughout the thing.
Okay.
Because again, there could be a situation where it's like, oh, they're actually doing something just bad because they're just bad at that task.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting time capsule all the time. You have Anderson Cooper as the host.
Yeah.
They go to these some exotic European spots for some reason. Season 1 felt really like big and very location specific, like why we're here doing these tests here. So far, from what I've seen in season 2, there's like no reason to be in any of these locations in Switzerland. And it's like there's like one challenge where they're like standing on a log over a pond. It's like this could be any pond in the world. We didn't have to go to Switzerland to do this, but
Anderson Cooper wanted to go to Switzerland.
Probably. And I said from what I've seen of season 2, because without notice, it was pulled from Netflix on Monday. And I'm not happy. And it's nowhere else. You can't find it anywhere.
Wow.
You can't even buy the season on DVD on Amazon. Like you can't. Like they have season 1 on DVD. I can't get season 2 on DVD. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's just really annoying because on other shows on Netflix they'll say like this series is leaving on blah blah blah, but they didn't do that this time because they uploaded seasons 3 and 4, and they replaced 3 and 4 with 1 and 2 or strike that, reverse it. But you know what I mean? Like they never said we're getting rid of the mole.
Oh,
so like out of
man.
random, I go to watch season 2, episode 5, and it's like, oh, Where is it?
But you could watch
I-
season 3, yes?
Yeah, I did watch season. I started season 3 last week. It's actually a mini celeb season in Hawaii. And here's some of the celebs we got. I'll just mention a few.
What year is this?
Probably. I don't know for sure because I'm really terrified to look up anything because I don't want to know who the mole is
Okay.
for time. But I think it's like 2003, 2004.
Okay.
But Stephen Baldwin, Kathy Griffin,
Okay.
and the guy from a Disney Channel original movie. I don't know if you remember the movie Brink. We got Brink. He's in this one as well.
2003.
2003.
I feel
January
like
3rd,
Kathy
2003.
Griffin is the go-to celebrity
Yeah.
that.
And any Baldwin, you know,
Yep.
throw them in there.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so that's what I'm doing with my life, watching The Mole. But yeah, if anyone knows where season 2 is and can help me out, that'd be great. But Kyle, your show is not a show. You're not doing a movie or a television show this week for your quick check. What are you doing?
I am doing Drake's new album. Honestly, Nevermind.
Okay.
Um,
Should I care about this or should I?
Probably not. but-
Never mind?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Somebody did tweet, and I think it was the funniest tweet. Is they said he called his album honestly Nevermind, and maybe he meant it because
Ooh,
this
burn.
Yeah. It's different. So
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Drake fan, but I figured I'd do this because it was relatively new. And apparently Drake's going in a new style. He decided to make a more, a dance vibey album. And it has a lot of house music on. So thank you, Drake, for bringing house music to some young kids that I may not come into contact with, because then I can play my house music that I like. All right. So there's that. But with that said, Drake is not a singer and doing a lot of singing that is not so great. I was told that this album is possibly about Rihanna. I don't know. But if so, this guy is hurting bad because every song is pretty much the same. And it's about how he's feeling down on himself. And literally, there's a title of a song called Tex Go Green. She blocked him. So, you know.
How dare she.
So it's like all this emotional. He's bad for this woman that he wanted, you know. And then about halfway through the album, there's a song called Massive. And I've listened to a lot of bad EDM music, okay, in my time. And this is not great house music. It's like a metronome in the back and barely anything else going on. I'm like, can we do something about this? Like, this is horrible. And
It's like when Nathan Fielder did the smoke detector in the background of one of the songs.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, pretty much this entire album just feels like one long song that Drake is singing, except at the end, there's like 2 tracks that feel like totally different from whatever he was creating for the rest of the album. And the track at the end called Jimmy Cooks with 21 Savage, which I liked, but very, very different from the rest of the album. So just an interesting idea by Drake. I'm sure he's not happy. He's kind of getting roasted on Twitter for his album. But maybe the more you listen to it, the more you like it. Listen to whatever you want to. I'm a bald guy with glasses. What do I know? Okay.
So much.
Were those bonus tracks the two different ones?
The
The two at the end that you said were pretty different.
Jimmy. Yeah, there's one called Jimmy Cooks. No, I think it's on the album.
I think it's on the album. Oh, that's weird. Why not make them bonus tracks if they're so different?
Yeah, they are very different.
Wow.
Drake is, I think there's only 2 like traditional rap songs on there, and that's the one I mentioned at the end of the album, and then another one I think called Sticky. But yeah, everything else is like a house beat with him like crooning over it. And when I use the word crooning, it's a loose term.
Loose.
Sing us a few bars.
You know.
Oh, we're out of time. I'm sorry. I saved you there on that one, Kyle.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, all right. That's our quick checks this week. That's it for this show. But next week we're off, so don't expect a show next week. A lot to come though in July. There's a lot coming up in July. Really going to be a busy month. Stranger Things, the second half of season 4, Westworld, and Better Call Saul. They all return. Plus we got Big Brother, Nope, the Boys finale, Emmy nominations. And we may even have another TV draft game. That's a little tease. That's what might be coming up in July for our shows. The schedule is going to be a little weird for July. So make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram so you know when we are recording. Because, for instance, Wednesday night right now, normally we're Mondays at 8 p.m. Tonight was Wednesday. You can find all these episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doredundancy.com, and of course twitch.tv/doredundancy. Usually always 8 p.m., but again, could be any day this summer. It's going to be a crazy summer, and then we'll get back to a normal schedule probably after the summer.
Don't blame us. It's the summer.
What can you do? What can you do? We got stuff going on. We're very busy people here on the. But speaking of, I got to thank both of you guys for again, working around my schedule this week, joining me on Wednesday night to do this podcast. For John, directing the show, putting it up on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Do or Duncy. Goodbye, everybody.